Good day, classmates. As instructed, I will now present my answers for part 1 of our activity, which focuses on outlining and critiquing the rights of children as citizens, with particular emphasis on examining the UNCRC in relation to children's rights under Philippine domestic law. To give you an overview of my presentation, I will be discussing part 1 of our activity, which focuses on the core principles of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Children. What are the core principles of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child? They are the principles of non-discrimination, the principle of the best interest of the child, the principle of life, survival, and development, and lastly, the principle of inclusion and participation. So the principle of non-discrimination in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child ensures that every child is entitled to all the rights and protections outlined in the Convention without exception. This means that no child should be treated unfairly or denied their rights based on race, gender, language, religion, disability, social origin, or any other status, whether it relates to the child or their family. So this principle of non-discrimination under the UNCRC guarantees that all children are entitled to the rights and protection outlined in the Convention, regardless of race, gender, language, religion, disability, and social background, or any other status related to them or their families. What are the rights of children from the UNCRC under the principle of non-discrimination? First is Article 2. So Article 2 means that all children must be treated fairly regardless of personal or family background. I also included Article 30. In Article 30, it connects to the principle of non-discrimination because it ensures that children from minority or indigenous groups are not excluded or denied their rights based on cultural, religious, or linguistic differences. Article 40 establishes the Committee on the Rights of the Child, a group of 18 independent experts elected by state parties to monitor how well countries are fulfilling their obligations under the Convention. Article 46, the present convention shall be open for signature by all states. I also included Article 48. The convention is available for any country to formally join at any time. Article 50, any country that has joined the convention can propose changes to it by submitting an amendment to the UN Secretary General. And Article 54, that states official version of the convention is available in 6 equally valid languages. These are Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. So this original document is kept by the UN Secretary General. So these provisions reflect the rights of states to join and sign the convention. However, as instructed, we are required to categorize all provisions, which is why I included them. So they fall under the principle of non-discrimination as the Convention is open for signatures by all states and accessible to every country without exception. So, what are the Philippine domestic laws that are related to the children's rights under the principle of non-discrimination? First one is, I consider the Republic Act 7610, or the Special Protection of Child against child abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. So, this provision emphasizes the state's responsibility to protect children from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, especially those in vulnerable conditions like child labor, trafficking, and discrimination. Next is Republic Act 9231, or the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. These provisions protect child from abuse and neglect, combats discriminatory labor practices, and guarantees equal protection for those in vulnerable situations. Next is Republic Act 7277, or the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. These provisions protects persons with disabilities, especially children, from discrimination and guarantees their access to education, healthcare, and essential services while promoting their rights and overall well-being. Article 3, Section 1 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, these serve as the foundation for all anti-discrimination efforts, including those affecting children. Republic Act 1062-7 or the Anti-Bullying Act. So this protects children from discriminatory behavior based on appearance, disability, gender, or background. And lastly, the Crimes Against Chastity of the Revised Penal Code. This provision ensures equal protection under the criminal law by safeguarding all children from sexual exploitation and abuse regardless of gender or social status. Another principle is the best interest of the child. So the principle as a substantive right will obligate states to consider the best interest of a child, take it as primary consideration when different interests are considered, and that the right is implemented whenever a decision is affecting a child. This just means that the principle of the best interest of the child requires that states prioritizes the child's well-being in all decisions affecting them and interpret laws in ways that most effectively uphold their rights as outlined in the convention in its optional protocols. What are the rights of the children from the UNCRC under the principle of the best interest of the child? First is Article 3. The best interest of the child must be the top priority in all decisions and actions by governments, courts, and organizations, ensuring their protection and care while respecting the role of parents or guardians. Article 5, the government must respect the role of families in guiding children's development, ensuring that such support aligns with the child's maturity and helps them understand and exercise the rights appropriately. Next is Article 9. It speaks about the right of every child to remain with their parents unless separation serves the best interest. And if separated, they must be allowed regular contact and be informed of their family's whereabouts, unless doing so would negatively affect the child's well-being. Article 10 that children have the right to maintain contact with both parents, and government must ensure fair, timely, and compassionate handling of family reunification requests, including allowing free travel for both children and their parents. Article 11, children have the right to be protected from illegal removal or retention across borders, and all related actions must prioritize their safety, emotional well-being, and family ties. It is under the principle of the best interest of the child because it ensures that in cross-border cases, decisions are guided by what most safeguards the child's overall welfare, stability, and connection to loved one. Next is Article 16. Children have the right to privacy from unlawful intrusion or attacks on their personal life, dignity, and identity with legal remedies to uphold and defend these rights. So clearly, that it is under the best interest of the child. Next is Article 18. It affirms that both parents share equal responsibility for raising the child with the child's best interest as the guiding priority, while the governments must support families by providing access to child care services and resources. Also, this is under the best interest of the child as it ensures that children receive nurturing and support from both family and state. Article 20. So this is also under the best interest of the child because it ensures that when a child's family situation endangers their well-being, the state steps in to prioritize their safety, care, and development. Article 21 that the adoption decision must prioritize the child's best interest by ensuring through review, informed consent, and approval by qualified authorities to safeguard the child's well-being in future. And Article 25, children placed in care for physical or mental health reasons have the right to regular reviews to ensure their treatment and living conditions continue to support their well-being and best interests. Article 34 is under the best interest of the child because it states that children must be safeguarded from all forms of sexual abuse and exploitation, as protecting their dignity, safety, and emotional well-being is essential to upholding their best interests. Article 35, children must be protected from abduction, sale, and trafficking through strong laws and international cooperation, as safeguarding them from exploitation is essential to upholding their best interests and ensuring there is safety and dignity. Article 36, Governments must protect children from all forms of exploitation to uphold their best interests by ensuring their physical, emotional, and social well-being is never compromised. Article 37, children must be shielded from torture and harsh punishment, with detention used only as a last resort, ensuring their treatment upholds their dignity and aligns with their best interests. Article 39 is also under the principle of best interest of the child because governments must ensure that children affected by trauma receive comprehensive support for recovery and reintegration in a safe, dignified environment, as this is essential to protecting their best interests and promoting their long-term well-being. Article 40, children in conflict with the law must be treated with dignity and provided fair, age-appropriate legal protection and rehabilitation-focused justice system, ensuring their well-being and development in line with the best interests of the child principle. Article 41 and Article 43 also falls under the best interests of the child because it is under the principle of the best interest of the child because in here, more favorable national or international laws for children must continue to be upheld. As doing so, it ensures their rights and well-being are protected in alignment with the best interests of the child. So what are the Philippine domestic laws that are related to the children's human rights under the principle of the best interests of the child? First of all is the Family Code of the Philippines. It reflects the best interests of the child principle through its provisions on custody, parental authority, support, and adoption. So, for instance, in custody cases, the code prioritizes the child's welfare, often granting custody to the mother for children under 7 unless compelling reasons suggesting otherwise. Next is Chapter 3 about the system of absolute community. So it also relates to the best interests of the child principle by ensuring that the community property is used to support the spouses and their legitimate children. Section 6, this provision reflects the best interests of the child principle by presuming that a child under 7 is best cared for by the mother unless proven otherwise, and by ensuring that any custody decision made by the court prioritizes the child's overall well-being. Article 213 of the Family Code of the Philippines. This directly upholds the best interest of the child principle by requiring courts to prioritize the child's emotional, moral, and physical welfare in custody decision. Presidential Decree 603, or the Child and Youth Welfare Code. It is under the best interest of the child, as this declares the child's best interest as central to all decisions affecting their development, protection, and education. Next is the RA number 9262, Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. It reinforces the best interests of the child principle by ensuring that in situations of domestic violence, court issue custody and protection orders that prioritizes the child's safety, emotional stability, and overall well-being. Next is RA 9231, or the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse and Discrimination Act. It aligns with the best interests of the child principle by mandating the state to actively protect children. Next is RA 7658, or the Act prohibiting the employment of children below 15 years of age. So it specifically prohibits the employment of children below 15 years of age in both public and private undertaking. Next is RA 9344, the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of 2006. It focuses on rehabilitation and reintegration of children in conflict with the law rather than punishment. So this is also guided by the best interests of the child. Next is the RA 11956, or the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. These provisions uphold the best interests of the child because it prohibits early marriage. It recognizes its detrimental effects on a child's physical, emotional, and educational development, and ensuring that all legal interpretations prioritize the child's long-term safety and growth. Lastly is RA 8552, or the Domestic Adoption Act of 1998. So in here, adoption decisions must prioritize the child's best interests, ensuring stable, loving, and secure family environment.